Cool. So part 3 of our Thought Leader ad series here, I've been talking a lot about the new ad style on LinkedIn, which is those Thought Leader ads that you can repurpose content from any of your thought leaders in your business as ads run on your company page or sponsored on your company page. So we've talked a little bit about strategy here, but I'd love to see if we can do a bit of a how to kind of set up the thought leader ads and any tips that you have from tests that you've run.
Yeah, so this will be more of a practical kind of workshop than our traditional. But yeah, I kind of just want to jump in and show you guys just where they're at, how to access them, how to actually execute your first influencer ad, thought leader ad, and some best practices. So very practically from the initial screen where you're logged into your account, you can create a new campaign. So you could do this for cold, you could do this for retargeting. I'm just going to call this testing. And then very important. So currently, as far as I know, these are only available under 2 objectives: brand awareness and engagement. So first step to being able to access them, because everyone should have access to this. Like the first question I usually get is, when will I have access? Do I have access? As far as I know, they said that they've rolled it out to everyone. So everyone should have access. It's more of a matter of they don't make it super easy for everyone to find them. So what I'm finding is there's a lot of people who don't know how to find or see if they had the influencer ads. Mm-hmm. So first step, only brand awareness or engagement objectives currently are showing that is available. And to me, I think most people are testing it as brand awareness, just getting the distribution, getting in front of. I think the interesting one for engagement is that it also adds a follow icon, I believe. So, I mean, that's what they're saying for engagement. I haven't actually seen, I need to look at what that looks like in the feed. Because if so, then that would actually be pretty valuable, because it's just like, I mean, yeah, instead of just, it's like an extra call to action button on your post if there's a little follower icon at the top where you could possibly gain followers from that. So I would say, initially, I think most people are using brand awareness. I would lean towards possibly testing engagement and retargeting and brand awareness in cold. So I'm going to hit brand awareness on this one just because most people are using this. And then the next big thing, so that's the first, is you have to select the right objective. The next is, it is single image. That is the format supported. So we've been getting a lot of questions too, like, can we boost our video? Can we boost our carousel? Can we boost, this post or this post? And so the main rules are, it can be text posts, so just all text or copy. It can be an image and text, and GIFs work, but they're all under the single image type. So none of these others are supported yet, as far as I know. And then the other big thing that I found after testing is that it will not show as an option if you have the LinkedIn Audience Network enabled. So you do have to disable. Obviously, you'd want to disable audience expansion as well and actually select your targeting. But LinkedIn Audience Network is actually tied to whether it will show or not. And I think that's one of the things people are getting hung up on, is they didn't select the right ad objective or the ad format, and they didn't realize that the LinkedIn Audience Network had to be turned off. So once you select the right objective, single image ad type, and you get your turn the Audience Network off, the ad should be available. So I'm not going to dive into strategy right now or what targeting you should use. We're just going to address how the heck do you find these and how do you actually use them. So here you come to create an ad for your existing campaign. And here you would click browse existing content. Create ads is the traditional way you would normally find these or create new ads, but browse existing content is what we're going to do for here. And then now they've split this up. So it was just company page. Now they have direct sponsored and company page, and they have an employee tab. This is the new section. And when you hit employee tab, nothing shows up here. You have to search for your employee. So for example, I could type Jasmine's name. Jasmine pops up. I could type my name, I pop up. So anyone connected to your company on LinkedIn, like actually has your company listed as on their experience section, should be able to be visible here. So any of our employees. And then what you do is after you select the employee or the person connected, so I'll do mine, for example, is it'll pull up. After you select the person, it'll pull up, from everything I've read, it's 6 months, supposedly 6 months worth of posts. So you can't go back more than 6 months from everything I've heard, but I have seen a couple examples of clients that I've done this for or looked at it where it was showing 9 and 12 months worth of posts for them. So maybe there's a limit too, because 6 months worth of posts for me is completely different than 6 months worth of posts for someone else. So it might be that if you have less posting frequency, that maybe you'll have, maybe it's a maximum number of posts. And or a time frame. I don't think we completely know yet, because I have seen a client and they had 12 months worth of posts, but 12 months worth of posts fit on 6 pages for them. Whereas, not sure 20 pages quite holds. Yeah, it's 6 months and how many on each. So it'll show the posts here. And then the next step is when you're clicking on the individual posts, what you'll notice is you can actually see the likes and comments, the social engagement. That's really important because you do ideally want to pick posts that got traction, that people actually liked and engaged with. And then once you select them, you just hit request. And then you'll come up with a little message. And basically it says that it's going to ask for permission for this. So what it does is it actually sends an email to that person requesting approval for every single ad. So if there was 10 posts that you wanted to boost, there would be 10 separate emails with 10 separate approval requests that all need approved. And then once you send those requests, so you can select a bunch of them, send the requests, then you come over here. And this little tab is where they're housed. So all the requests you sent are now going to be visible over here with the status. So here's all the ones that are approved. There's some at the end that are pending. If you need to follow up and actually get those approved and they didn't get the email, you can just copy this link and send them the link. It'll be a direct link for approval. Once the posts are approved, you'll see that the status is approved, and you can now select them here and click sponsor over on the right. And then once you do that, they get pulled into what you normally see, the view, except, these aren't going to be editable. You can't add, destination URLs or headlines or change the intro text. They're just living posts that you have money behind. You can't duplicate or anything like that. And then you could obviously adjust your targeting, budget, bidding, all of that, and you would launch. But that's the big question that seems to be everyone is asking is, how do I find them? How do I set it up? How do I get access to them? So I thought a basics of, how to actually, where they're found and what to do with them would be great. So that's kind of the initial, how to access them.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's some common mistakes here. I'll do a quick summary of those. So common mistakes that you're kind of seeing, or we're seeing with some clients that are trying to run LinkedIn thought leader ads, not knowing which objectives to pick. So it's only brand awareness or engagement objectives right now. They're not disabling the audience network. So we can't run thought leader ads on any of the other websites besides LinkedIn. So you can't have the audience network enabled. You have to click browse existing content instead of create a new ad. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to find your existing content. And then your employee has to be connected to your company page. So if they're not, associated with your company on their LinkedIn, then it's probably not going to show up for them. You got to pick a post with good engagement. This isn't necessarily a mistake, but always a good idea since those numbers are going to be surfaced, making sure that the post has a good number of likes, a good number of comments. So you're building that social proof. And then the employee has to approve the request for each individual post. So if you send out 10 requests, they have to approve 10 times. It's not like one single approval. And then from what we know, these pieces of ads or these content are not editable via the campaign manager. So we can edit the post if the original poster goes into their organic content and edits it. And then you want to run that as an ad. But then if you have it open in the campaign manager, you won't be able to edit it.
Correct. I think that's a good summary.
Yeah. So lots of mistakes there that people make.
Yeah. I did pull up some examples too. These are a couple of them because the other is just, how do they show up in the feed? So this isn't a completely accurate view because it would be truncated. Like it would have, much like you have like normal, I should have put it in much like you have this see more, it would show up as the actual post. It would have the see more, it'd have the image, show the social proof, and then they would have to kind of engage with that. But the layout it comes from an actual person. So it shows the name, the profile image, it has the actual post, the image and everything. So it's the original post boosted and almost like brought back into Evergreen. All the comments, likes, shares, everything that post already had organically is still brought forward. And then now it's propelled and turned into Evergreen with paid ads. And it looks like it's coming from a personal profile. And then it just says promoted by and has, so it does have, I actually didn't realize that it had a clickable link for the company. So that's actually really nice. So there is actually, because one of the things I was saying is, it doesn't have a CTA button. Like there's not a headline, a learn more. So if you wanted, you could actually go back and edit and put links at the bottom of this post and say, hey, for more information, here's our website, here's a demo video, here's our YouTube channel, like all the links. And now, like, it wouldn't be a bad idea because normally you wouldn't do that organically because it kills your reach. Well, this post has already lived and died organically, and now it's brought back to life with paid ads, and now we don't care about the organic rules. Now it's being propelled and distributed with paid ads. We can put those links in it. We don't care about the organic reach anymore. But this is actually really nice. I absolutely did not know that it had the link there, and I'm wondering, okay, and then it goes to the company page. Okay, so that's interesting. So that is new.
Yeah. So just looking at an example there, it does really look like, your basic organic post, just with that guaranteed distribution that we've talked about with other ad types. But it looks a little bit more natural in the feed, other than, of course, having that really cool CTA at the top of going to your company page or the page that sponsored that post.
Yeah. And I would say, so I guess one of the other things is, it probably could be its own little episode is, strategies, best practices is what I'm getting, like, questions. And what I would say, like, my basic advice, obviously we'll dive into this more in depth in the next couple of weeks. My basic advice is nothing else. It should be a good A/B test of the exact same stuff you're already running from the company page. Try it from one of your leaders and boost it. And it should show improvement over the other. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would say, you should have a decent organic strategy that brings inbound in, and you could basically learn from that and amplify that with this. So if you don't already have that in place where you have an active organic presence, you already kind of know what's working, what's creating this inbound motion organically. If you don't already have that, then you are kind of, paying and learning to start. But ideally what we did that kind of translates into instant success is, I know exactly what 10, 15 organic posts of mine that I can post, once a month that get inbound leads consistently. And so immediate ROI is I just take those and I now sponsor those from the paid ads. I retarget my website visitors, company page visitors, cold ad image interaction. My last 30 day, I put it into that tight group and I show them my top 10, 15 posts organically. And we already started seeing conversions from that. But that's, a year's worth of like legwork to have all that data to curate the 10, 15 posts that I know are guaranteed that I can now make evergreen. So, not everyone's going to be able to shortcut to that.
Yeah, but it does go to show how, LinkedIn is starting to prioritize channels that maybe already have that organic content or already have some of that activity going on, which obviously LinkedIn is always going to prioritize people that use their platform more often.
Yeah.
So it's just another way to show like how important it can be to have that consistent posting schedule, whether you're doing it via ads or, via that organic content too.
Yeah.
So last kind of topic here, you were getting into it at the end, talking about a bit about like thought leader ads in terms of using it for a demand gen strategy. Do you have any preliminary tips on how you might implement this in that kind of demand gen format in order to see success with thought leader ads?
Yeah, the big thing I think is the subject matter expertise. And I keep coming back to that. And it's something that, obviously, we've been talking about internally about how can we extract, subject matter expertise? How can we get that into ads? Because that's a big part of the trust and credibility. So in my mind, this should be a tool that helps you do that more naturally. Because there's one thing where just a company page comes out and says, hey, here's how the technical how-to of setting up, this back-end thing. But if you actually have it for whatever psychological reasons, if that same information actually comes from your lead developer or your lead technician in your company, putting a face with the expertise that your company actually houses, like, that's huge. Like, think about it from a marketing, like there could be a marketing agency that their company page, sure has good advice. But knowing like which specific marketer in their company is driving those insights, like it does something for me to know like that company is good. And I know I can put a face with like the experts in there that make me feel better about that company's expertise. I think that does wonders. And I think that idea is what is going to make this such a powerful tool, because you can humanize your brand, you can show your expertise. And it's not just your company's expertise, you're highlighting the individual contributors that are driving your company's success and expertise. And I think that's huge in this demand gen play to bring forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thought leader ads almost have, or they act as like a two-way street where, putting a face to your brand's name and showing like an individual person who contributes a lot to your brand. That really helps with, like you said, humanizing your brand, making your brand come across a little bit more approachable, which we know with LinkedIn company pages can feel a little bit stale or distant or fake if it's a little too highly branded. So brings more of that human interaction in. And then of course it also helps the person whose post that you're sponsoring, encourages engagement on their organic content, encourages people to connect with them and network with them, which, as we've talked about in the past, networking on LinkedIn can be mutually beneficial for both you as an individual and the company that you work for when you're acting as a face of that brand.
Yeah, it definitely opens up a lot of different potentials. Because one of the things I like to do in the demand gen play and in retargeting in general is plug these prospects into any other additional communities, resources, groups that we have. Our YouTube channel, our newsletter, my personal LinkedIn profile, our company LinkedIn profile. So this also just makes it easier to also funnel that. What I was doing before is I would take screenshots of my organic posts and I would run those as ads. And then I would send the traffic back to my actual post. And it was, but now this makes it really easier. Like I can directly plug them into my personal profile, my greatest hits, my best posts. And even better is like, it's the actual post. It's not some MacGyver, version of it. So just makes it so much smoother.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like the more optimized version of the screenshot strategy that we've used so many times in the past.
Which was working really well. So now it got even better.
Yeah, really awesome to see it adopted by LinkedIn.